not, right?
I don't
More-
know.
You watched the one with Coach
I
Beard and
switched to comfy pants.
the whole
Yeah.
his day. Okay.
The
Sorry.
word,
Yeah,
the weird one.
The weird one. Yeah, that's the only one we just watched, and we're still a little confused.
Which
on that
one?
Where Coach Beard goes through his day, the night. that he
Oh
goes
yeah,
out drinking.
yeah.
I loved
did
that
see that.
episode.
They
Uh-huh.
said that episode and the Christmas episode where they purposely did that so because they had to record 2 extra episodes because Apple wanted 2 extra episodes instead of 10. They have 12.
So he
So
just
that's why.
figured out silly things, I guess, to do. Or
Yeah,
I mean, it fits in very nicely, and it's so great to get to see this, Coach Beard
Yeah.
as more than just a supporting character.
Yeah,
I guess
it
the
was-
idea is you're the whole the whole basis of the show so far is inside people's heads, right? It's out with the psychologist who started. So, daddy, we're going with daddy issues. We're going with Coach's Beard's insecurity issues now with the team, and Nate's dad's issues, and then Ted's father's suicide. I mean, it's a whole theme going. So, yeah, tell me it gets more
Yeah,
lighthearted.
it goes back to normal in the next
Okay,
episode.
because I'll be honest with you, I turned it on to laugh because I needed it, and it didn't work. So.
No, that one was a little. It was strange.
Yes, I thought it was going to be a dream at the end.
Yes, my cat was
In the closet,
locked in the closet.
it happens.
All right,
Quite regularly, in fact.
just getting us posted on socials here. Just give me a moment.
Okay.
Good Ted Lasso talk discussion. I don't do that too often here.
Yeah. I mean, just
Yeah.
the fact that
I've got to now jump into Foundation. I didn't realize it was out until I heard Charlotte Henry talking about it on Media Plus. And it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize it had started. So
I think the Jon Stewart just dropped. I just got a thing from Apple.
Oh, that's today. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I really liked Foundation.
Did you?
Of
Good.
course, there's only 2 episodes so far.
right.
And I had seen a couple early reviews that came out that kind of bagged on it. No, not kind of, really bagged on it. And I was like, oh crap, this could be bad, but I'm gonna watch it. And I don't know what those people were talking about because I thought it was really good. It's really well done. I think the writing is really good. It's
episodes is not
beautiful
enough.
to watch.
The 2 episodes is
the
not enough to
costumes,
judge it either.
effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get so sick of people posting all these negative reviews, especially either the day it comes out or, moving forward. It's like, any show needs 3 to 5 episodes to kind of get its feet under it. I don't care who it is or what it is.
Except for Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Well, even in the beginning, people weren't quite in there at the first. WandaVision took about 4 or 5 episodes, but
True.
Now it's one of my favorites. And the way
And I was hooked on episode 1 of WandaVision.
yeah,
But then again, I enjoy when you take something that you're expecting and in a very clever way, just twist it and give it to you in from a totally different angle, which
Right.
they did with
But it took
WandaVision.
but it took a few episodes to get to that twist. So you had to get there. But
Well,
Yeah.
the twist that I liked was starting it off like a 2-camera sitcom.
Yeah.
And actually filming in front of a studio audience.
Fun fact: the guy I graduated high school with, Paul Iverson, is the laugh track coordinator on WandaVision. So
That's cool.
when you heard like the classic sitcoms and the funny people clapping and things like that, that's like, I don't know. I don't think that was all him clapping and laughing, but he somehow put that together.
That's awesome. But I'm sure it was a mix because they did have a live audience for those episodes where that's how they would have been.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
All right, guys, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Launch.
Got the Why am I getting an echo?
Not hearing it here.
I'm
Oh, I
good.
am.
Not hearing it here. Not hearing it here.
Were you hearing
Hold
it?
on.
Here.
Check.
Am I helping?
Check. Okay. I turned it off. I had include audio input in audio hijack. That doesn't help.
Oh, not only does that not help, but that really screws you up.
It puts me on an acid trip there.
Yeah. Well, and your recording will just be completely screwed.
I'll be like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the recording will have the audio doubled, but
true.
with the latency, it is really, really bad.
All right, we're good now. All right, we're at episode 171. Let's go ahead and get started.
We're late. No underpants. Let's go.
Yeah. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome to episode 171 of In Touch with iOS, a podcast that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my co-host, Warren Sklar, is back. You've been gone too many weeks. Welcome back, Warren.
It's been a summer of love. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yes.
Thanks.
Just in time, we'll be talking about what's been going on with Apple with you. And I got two great guests this week. Chuck Joyner's back on the show. We're just fresh off of Mac Voices Live a couple of days ago. Welcome back to the show, Chuck.
Thank you, David. Good to have you. And Warren, this ain't the summer of love. Look it up. Blue Oyster Cult.
Was it 76?
No, that's never mind. I think you missed it.
Joke. I'm either too old or too young for the joke, and I'm not sure which one it is. So.
And also back on the show is Jeff Gammett. Welcome back to the show, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm seriously really happy to be here.
Yes, I always love having you here. I love everybody here. We're having a great time here. We're going to have a good time. We all have, well, not all of us. Some of us have our iPhones, and we're going to talk about that, and might even have an iPad Mini and a few other things that we're going to give our insights on what's going on in the world of Apple. And yeah, there's been a few things going on here. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the stories this week. A lot of iOS 15 stories, and we're going to hit on here. A few bugs that I'm kind of concerned about. One of them here is on from Mac Rumors. iOS 15 messages bug causes saved photos to be deleted. Oh no. Serious bug in iOS 15 messages app can cause some saved photos to be deleted. Multiple complaints have been heard on the Mac Rumors readers and Twitter. If you save a photo from a messages thread and then go to delete that thread, the next time an iCloud backup is performed, the photo disappears. Ooh. Even though the image is saved to your personal iCloud photo library, it appears it's still to be linked to the Messages app on iOS 15, and saving it does not persist through the deletion of the thread and an iCloud backup. So there's some bug. There is a way to replicate this bug, but I don't know if there's anything going on here as far as if they fixed this yet. Chuck, I know you posted this article on Mac Voices. Have you heard anything else beyond this?
I have not. I have not seen this, but I also am not in the habit of walking down the path that they specifically, take you through that to manifest. I'm not one of those like say, let's see if my machine is buggy too. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Now, I borrow someone's machine and try it on theirs.
Yeah, exactly.
Good thinking. Yeah, I guess my initial reaction to this is one that, we've all parroted plenty of times. Don't run the betas, but, not even maybe the first public release. Maybe wait to 15.1. None of us did, of course, but, that comment is going to come up a number of times in this show.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are, and we'll get to that, talking about the adoption here in a bit. But Warren, are you still running? You're running beta on your 12, I assume.
No, I'm on release because.
Okay. Well, you haven't had time. That's right.
No. Tech tip: when I pick up my new phone, if I update to the beta now, my new phone's not gonna have the beta. I'm gonna have
That's
to.
Right.
Finagle
He's thinking this time.
I'm thinking this time. So I did my iPad, but not this one. But iOS 15, I'm assuming it's the new feature is and I don't know who knows it, but the new feature is somebody message you a picture in iMessage, it automatically it doesn't save into your camera roll, but it goes into your iCloud photo, and you have the option to save it. So
Right.
it is confusing because it shows in your iCloud photos, even if you don't hit that save button in the iCloud photos. So I'm wondering what's going on with that. If it's something that if you save it and then delete the message thread, will it delete it out? Maybe you're not saving it, because there is an
Right.
option to actually save the message into your iCloud photos.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's if you save the photo outside of iMessage, it's probably safe. But the problem is, iCloud is also backing up the messages, and then that photo will disappear because there's some sort of syncing between
There's some
iCloud
link,
photos.
but again,
Yeah.
if I iMessage you guys a picture with iOS 15, if you go into your Photos app, that picture shows up now in your cloud photos,
Right.
because that's what iOS 15 does. But it still says, do you want to save this to your iCloud photos? So there's still a second step to save it there. So the question is, if you delete, you might see it in the photo library, not save it, delete the thread out, and maybe it's gone there. Maybe if you hit save, I didn't read the article, but maybe if you hit, or we could test it.
No, we don't want to test it.
Hey, can I borrow your computer real quick?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So first, operating systems have become so complex that it's really impossible to find every bug ahead of time. And but at the same time, holy crap, anything that affects your data, that to me is still kind of an unforgivable bug. So there's that. But then there's the other side, that Warren was just talking about, where we now have this whole confusing situation where you may or may not have saved a photo, even when it looks like you have. But so if the problem is that you have saved the photo, but it still gets deleted, then I would speculate that what Apple is doing is setting a flag on an image that's stored as part of one data pool, and that flag isn't being honored. So this is a messages photo, but you saved it, so we need to show it as a photos photo, even though it's over here in messages. And if we delete the thread, then this photo needs to become a photos photo, not a messages photo, which sounds horribly complex, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's something like that, because it's probably easier to manage the data through flags like that, as opposed to duplicating and deleting and all that. But the other thing is, and I've been like crazy busy with stuff, so I haven't verified this. Isn't this a thing that affects users that are using iCloud Photo Library? And the reason I ask that is because no photos that I'm getting sent in messages on iOS 15 are appearing anywhere other than the Messages app, unless I intentionally save them.
I think it's not a cloud photo thing.
Okay.
But
and I do not use iCloud Photo Library.
What it does is, if you're using, at least on my phone, and it's been like that since beta 1, is if I send a picture through iMessage, don't do anything. I don't have to open up the picture in iMessage. If I go into my photo app, it will show the picture, and it will actually say from Warren or from David, David's message in there. And then there is an option to say, do you want to save this to your library? But even if you don't do that, it's still visible. You can delete it. So your options are to look at it, save it, or delete it from the Photos app.
Okay.
So that's what's going on there.
Okay.
And my other point is, what animal deletes out conversation threads in my messages anyway? So I don't. Do you guys clean out your I clean out my email, but not my iMessages coming in because
Every now and then I'll see
unless it's junk. Yeah.
a conversation that has, you know, like hundreds of messages in it, but it's all like AT&T sending me
Yeah,
messages
junk
that,
and all that. Yeah.
yeah,
Or friends and all that.
thanks for paying your bill. And I'm
Right.
like, seriously, I don't need 5 years of that. And then I'll
Right.
delete it.
But
But
if it's
like
from
actual
people you're
human
getting out of-
conversations, I don't think I've ever deleted one.
Yeah, because they'll just come right back, or and you know it's worthless because it just piles back on anyway. So
Well, something that I want to make clear, Jeff, believe it or not, when you were going through it, I understood exactly what you were saying. Because, I learned a long time ago about how much space can be taken up by messages, photos, or because I had an iPhone that had a lot less capacity a few years ago. And all of a sudden I was out of storage. And it's like, why? There's nothing there. And then I discovered that, you know, there are these gigabytes of photos that people have texted me or I've texted out.
Mhm.
And, you know, wow, they're there. But so my understanding of photos, though, in messages is if you send me a photo of your cat, okay, it's a photo in messages. If I want to save it out to my camera roll, then my assumption was up to this conversation was that it is being duplicated and stored over there. Now, the downside to that, as I see it, is you've got two copies of the same image taking up space on your device. But the upside is that now I can do whatever I want. I can clean it out of messages and it's safe over in my camera roll and it's being synced or backed up to wherever I'm syncing or backing it up to.
what I'm betting is in the way it is now, at least for iCloud Photo, where it shows up in your library in your Photos app, and it says from Chuck from iMessage. It actually says from Chuck iMessage or something to that effect, and it shows the picture that you sent me in the message.
But
I'm
that I
betting-
didn't save?
I didn't
That
save it. I didn't do anything. I didn't even open. I don't know if you even have to open up the message for this to happen. Trust me, it's there. Dave, have you seen this or have you not seen it?
I have not seen this, and that's what I was a little concerned about. Is if you do have a duplicate of the photo, or does it delete it? And I didn't think it did, but that's what's so confusing about this.
Hold on. Let's just really fast because this is an
Okay,
easy.
so while Warren is doing that, my hypothesis, the first half I already shared, that there's just a flag for iCloud Photos that says show this show this photo that came from messages, and then if you save it, then it changes the flag and says this is a saved image that should always appear in Photos.
Okay. Now,
If you're not using iCloud Photos, which would be the second half of my hypothesis, then what it's doing is leaving the image in messages, but when you choose to save, then it's explicitly making a duplicate that goes into the Photos database. Since it's not using iCloud Photos, you wouldn't have the link.
see, I think what it's doing, they open up Photos app. You didn't do anything with the message, right?
Right. So the message is still there, and it didn't go into Photos.
And you're on iOS 15 on this phone?
Yes. It's the 13 Pro Max.
And you're using iCloud Photo
Photos.
Library.
Yes.
Open up the, just open up the email and open up the picture, but don't save it.
Yep. I'm looking at the photo now. That's in Messages.
And close out Messages and just wait and see if it pops up in Photos. Just wait to see if it pops up at some point, because it will. Because I've gotten messages I got pictures from people, and it showed up in my photo library that I didn't put there. I think what it's doing is gonna send a link, or it sends a alias to the actual picture from the Photos app until you actually physically save it into your Photos app.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. It still hasn't synced. So
Mhm.
Right.
That's
So the
fine.
fact that we're having to spend this much time talking about this
yeah,
makes it pretty clear that there's something really confusing.
it's confusing about it. And then let's see.
Unless there's some
Let's
kind of
see.
setting that
Let's
I
see what
turned on.
happens.
There might be a setting that does it. But
Yeah.
if
But
one of you
let's
wants, yeah, keep
let's
an eye on it.
keep an eye. I'll keep an eye on it. Let's go ahead and move on. Next story was about CarPlay. iOS 15 and iPhone 13 is causing CarPlay issues for some users, which I have noticed. Adding to this list is a new seemingly widespread bug that's causing CarPlay to suddenly crash whenever a user attempts to play music, such through Apple Music. Yeah, I did notice that on my car. There's been dozens of posts with Apple support on Twitter and through the Mac Rumors forums complaining about this. Including they updated their iPhone 11 to iOS 15 and had no issues with CarPlay. But then they went there and activated their iPhone 13 and then disabled the 11, and now the CarPlay didn't work. I didn't notice that it didn't connect right away. I have to pull it, unplug it, plug it back in, but that could be my car. So they have been voicing some complaints, but there's no acknowledgement from Apple on this. Chuck, have you noticed this at all in CarPlay? I don't know if you've been using CarPlay much.
I use CarPlay every time I get in my car, but
Right.
I have to say that I have not been playing music either. I've usually playing podcasts.
Okay.
So I have not tried this, and again, wait and see what comes of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happens if you play music natively on your phone, if that makes a difference.
Yeah,
Whether
it's hard to say. I'm gonna try it again next time I'm in my car, but to see if it does it again. But again, I've got some other issues with my car where it's the radio's been wonky, but that's a whole other story. But it did seem a little buggy. Like I said, I had to unplug, plug back in to get it to recognize it. And the music, I did try to play music. I remember at one point it wouldn't play. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So there's some weird bugs here. Again, collections of bugs here. That's when we kind of have to expect this in a .0 release of an operating system. So we kind of have to expect it. So, did you guys have any other thoughts, Warren or
No, I'm still jealous I don't have CarPlay, and
I forget your Tesla.
I would still like it even with the bug. So, but it's
Yeah.
not meant to be.
I attempted to duplicate this problem yesterday. My car, because it's a 2013 Prius, does not have CarPlay yet. I'll get around to putting a CarPlay head into it. But my parents live relatively nearby, and their car has CarPlay. So I thought, well, let's see what happens with their car and my iPhone. And I couldn't duplicate the problem, but they haven't updated to iOS 15 yet, so they don't have the CarPlay update yet. And so in my testing, iOS 15 with the previous version, the iOS 14 CarPlay, not a problem.
Okay. All right. Well, so we'll see what happens. Again, it's a bug. We'll get through it. Next story, we'll be brief on this one. Many iPhone 13 owners were unable to get the Find My working on their new MagSafe wallet, because the MagSafe wallet, the little wallet that you can buy for your iPhone 13 that magnetically attaches to the back of the iPhone. And they released an updated version of it for that has Find My built into it. The new MagSafe wallet is designed to be easier to be found, like if it ever were to slip off, and you can start sending a signal to it, and hopefully you have an honest person that gives back your credit cards and whatever else you have in there. So again, it's been directed to Apple support. They really haven't acknowledged this. So that also a mention of a DFU, doing put your iPhone in a DFU mode. I don't know if the wallet is worth that much aggravation to do it, honestly. Jeff, what do you think? Yeah, exactly.
I think if you're pro tip, steal the wallet now before Apple fixes it. So,
it's okay. Oh, wow. While I said, wow, we have an unforgivable bug here with data.
Yeah.
This one, I'm like,
whatever.
Whatever.
It's actually a party trick, this Find My wallet thing. It's not as cool as it sounds. All it does is notify you the last place the wallet fell off the phone. It's not tracking the wallet at all. It's tracking the disconnection from your phone to the wallet. So if somebody walks off with the wallet after you're gone, it's useless.
You'll know at what point in time and location you were when you got screwed.
When something happens. So it's
Nice
something.
positive attitude.
It's something. It's something. But calling it Find My is, I think, a little misleading. It's not. It's exactly what Jeff said. It's the last place where that, it gives you a little bit of hope if somebody was honest, and it's still there.
Well, I can tell you one thing with Find My that was really driving me nuts is, I have an air tag clipped into my backpack, and there'd be times I would leave my car and just run into a store or run anywhere, and it's telling me you're separated from your backpack, and this is the last place you saw it. I'm like, what are you talking about? I know where my backpack is. It's in my trunk. So I do believe you have to, if you don't want those constantly popping up, you have to disable it notifying you of that fact.
The Find My,
Usually
the Find My is super buggy even now with the real. I have one in my backpack too, and I'll get in my car and I'll start driving, and it says you separate from your backpack, and I'm looking at it.
But I got to defend it a little bit, because to me, because I'm having to do exactly the same thing. But that's kind of what it's supposed to do. It's not magic. It's not going to know that I don't care right now because my backpack is, let's just say, I guess at my office. My backpack is at my office. I haven't designated that as a place that it should ignore. So if I leave the office and forget my backpack, I want to know about it.
No, but it notifies you when you don't forget your backpack. If I have my backpack with me in my car, start driving a little bit, it says you left your backpack behind, and then I guess it catches up. I think it's losing maybe between the is my back. You know what it is? I'm sorry. It's not the AirTag. It's saying it's my MacBook. It's my MacBook Air. You know how it also detects your you get a notification now if you're separated from your Mac devices too.
Mac, iPads.
So if I'm separated from my
it's
iPad,
everything. Yeah.
From
I
from my
my
Mac,
iPad.
so if I'm separated from my MacBook Air, it will tell me. But when I throw my MacBook Air in my backpack and start driving away, it says you're separated now from your MacBook Air, and I'm looking at my bag, and there's my MacBook Air, and it's because my MacBook Air doesn't have any communication to the outside world. But
I have not seen that, but So
and Ward, this is with your M1 MacBook Air,
this is with my M1 Air. Yes.
Okay, so that kills the hypothesis I was forming right there.
Yeah. So
So, well, we like I said, there are some quash bugs. Should we say with my Find My? But I agree with you, Chuck. It's something that it's supposed to be doing. I mean, I guess I was more used to in the old back before iOS 15 that if I wanted to go find my device, I'd go into Find My and look and see where it was. Where versus it automatically telling me, hey, your device is here. It was the last time we saw it, and you're separated from it. So I guess that was something I wasn't really used to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe we need some more fine-grained controls as this develops and we kind of figure it out. But I mean, one of my things would be, because I had this happen a couple of years ago, that I have a backpack I carry with me at CES, and you sit it down, I'm doing interviews, pack everything up, walk away, and you get like 500 yards away, and it's like, oh my God, and you go rushing back. Fortunately, it was there, but that's a time that I would love to have known that I was being separated from my backpack.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that's good. That's a good reason.
and they're fine. And they're going to fix all this, and that's what it's supposed to do, and it's going to work. So I'm excited about it too. It's buggy, but it's going to work.
Do you think? Excuse me. We're looking at more of a software issue here, or a hardware limitation, and by that I mean, is there an issue with the software just not staying in sync with itself to know what devices are nearby, or is it a thing where the actual devices, like let's say your M1 MacBook Air, is not capable of letting your iPhone know that it's still with you for whatever reason? Like should there be some sort of ongoing transmission coming out of your laptop that
Mhm.
says, I'm here, I'm here,
Well,
I'm here.
pretty much. And if you equate it to the wallet, the iPhone knows when a wallet is separated, and it knows that.
Mhm.
There should be no reason why when I shut down my MacBook Air, at that point, it tells my phone, don't look for the MacBook Air anymore, or at least this is the last location I've seen it at. But I know it's off. And at this point, I don't know. It's got to say, I don't know where it is. Right now it tells me I'm separated from it, but that's misleading because that, makes you freak out thinking that you didn't put your laptop in your backpack.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there, maybe an option on the MacBook Air or or these devices that say, I'm leaving, I have my MacBook, don't worry about this. Some kind of toggle, I don't know, but that's what it's doing, and it's an environmental issue. It's and it's not just with the with the laptop, but with everything. With these problems is the phone's not communicating with the AirTag, or the phone's not communicating with the Mac or whatever it is. Temporarily, it loses something, and then you get these notifications.
Yep. All right, let's go ahead and move on. As I mentioned, the early adoption for iOS 15 has suffered because of all the bugs. Adoption rates rises to about 20%. And iOS 15's adoption has reached an estimated 19.3% since the software update was released September 20th. This was according to a mobile analytics company, Mixpanel. They measure, based on visits to websites and such to see what's out there and it's installed. So, again, we're using a third-party company here giving us analytics, but it kind of makes sense since there's a fair amount of bugs. Seems that compared to when iOS 14 first came out, that this is a much lower adoption rate than I think iOS 14 was. So,
I don't
what do you
think
think,
it's
Chuck?
the bugs. Oh,
What do you
Chuck,
think?
you go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chuck.
Well,
All right, Chuck,
okay.
I'm totally jumping all over you.
No,
Ooh,
that's
it's
all
a
right.
free-for-all on
I
the
mix
show
it up.
tonight.
That's all
I
right.
mix
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah. Oh,
No, Chuck,
Okay.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
okay. Well,
It'll be good.
I guess what I find really interesting about this, though, is the upgrade experience was different this time because it didn't tell you had to upgrade. You could go,
Right.
you were on 14.8 and look and see, look at your version. It's like you're up to date. But then down at the bottom, you could opt to install 15. And so I think for the majority of users out there, they looked at it and said, I'm up to date. And they probably never looked down. And they may be still waiting to be told that, yeah, they can upgrade to 15. Now, we all are paying a lot more attention, and for obvious reasons. But, we talk about this constantly, that the techies are all over these kind of things. And the average person, not so much. So I think that's the reason you're seeing lower adoption is it was not presented to people as, yeah, hey, it's time to upgrade. Why wasn't it presented that way? Is it because they knew that there were going to be some of these bugs? I mean, I don't want to generate conspiracy theories, but or is it just that now maybe Apple is deciding, hey, we're going to push maybe 15.1 as the time when we have some of the bugs worked out.
That's a good theory.
And that is purely a theory. I know nothing, but it just seems like this, I can't figure out with all the public betas and all the beating that the tech press has given, positive and negative, about 15, that people weren't just jumping on it. And I think they just don't. A lot of people don't realize that it's available.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff.
Chuck, it's as if you were reading my mind. We're totally in line here. The one place where we are not completely in line is our speculation on why Apple set up the new interface the way they did. And seriously, I think the interface is the reason we haven't seen as much adoption, because people aren't looking for that tiny bar at the bottom that says, oh, by the way, iOS 15 is here. My speculation on why the interface is the way it is now has nothing to do with bugs. this is a strategic move on Apple's part, where I think what they're doing is trying to set up the argument that they don't force obsolescence on devices, that they don't force user upgrades, and that they are giving people a choice as opposed to locking them into something. And so strategic move, and probably has a lot to do with planning for protections in future litigation, because we live in a lawsuit happy country.
Jeff, I like your theory a whole lot more than mine, because I think it makes a lot more sense. I hadn't even thought about it, from that, in that direction. And one other thing, and I'll let Warren get in here, but one other thing I think would be interesting to know, because if you moved from an old iPhone to a brand new shiny iPhone, you were automatically moving up to 15. How did that get calculated in, or does it get calculated in the process?
Didn't say.
Because I would never, right here's my old iPhone. Now I did install 15 on it, but if I hadn't, I would have gone from 14 here to 15 over there, and this would never have shown as an upgraded device. And until I turn it into Apple, it's still not showing as an upgraded device, but I'm clearly running on 15 on the new one.
Right.
Yeah, I think we'll see the adoption numbers do a fast climb relatively soon, and not because we suddenly have more people updating to iOS 15, but because the whole cycle with switching from iPhone whatever to iPhone 13, we're in the middle of that, and so there are people that will take their old devices and hand them down, then they get updated, and then where do you find the right pool of people to interview, and how do you make sure that you're getting a good cross section of websites to back up your data? I think there's a lag right now.
So my take is iOS 14 was not peaches and cream when it first came out. I think we're remembering that wrong.
Oh, you're right.
And iOS 13 was a dumpster fire when it came out.
13 was
but
14,
super
if I
fast.
remember right, we were getting an update almost weekly when it first came out. There was an update. I think there was an update a week later, because I remember trying to convince my family to upgrade it to it, and then I started to feel funny because I had to keep updating their phones after that. So that happened when it first came out, and I think people remember that because that, it's fairly fresh.
I think a subset of people remember that.
Maybe subconsciously a lot more people remember that.
No, that could be.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's the news for this week. Let's go ahead and talk about beta briefly here. iOS 15.1 beta 2 came out. It's on the public beta as well as with the developers. One of the biggest bugs that's really driving me crazy right now is the fact that I can't unlock my iPhone with my Apple Watch when I have a mask on. That is a bug right now in 15.0, which we didn't mention. But that is fixed in 15.1. That's one of the things that stands out. I guess, Warren, you could say a little bit of, if you have any time you've experienced on your iPad. You said you don't have it on your iPhone yet. You don't. So
yeah, I put 15.1 on the iPad and didn't notice any major difference on that.
Yeah. So the Share Play, I guess, is now back enabled. So it seems like it's going to be coming once the beta comes out. Hopefully soon enough. They're beta 2 with it already. So they did add that feature. And there also is going to be a 15.1 beta, which of course you can't think of. So it's an invite only, because you imagine putting a beta on a HomePod. It's bad enough installing the real version on a HomePod. Apparently that's going to add lossless audio and Dolby Atmos and spatial audio support to the HomePod and the HomePod Mini. Finally, which we wanted this be happening. So, and then they're talking about the smart cards, which you've been talking about. You can put your vaccination card in wallet, and lots of others. They're creating smart cards as well. That's going to be able in just certain states in the United States, for as well as for vaccinated people at different healthcare providers. So really, it's uneventful. It looks like just a few squashed bugs is really what it is. But it's it's a .1 upgrade. Usually they go to a .01 or .02 sometimes.
That's
so
cool.
obviously it's obviously a pretty drastic update. They had to go right to a .1.
It's going to be a problem because Apple's going to drag their feet on releasing it like they did when the Unlock what Apple Watch feature just came out.
Right.
Because if you remember, it was in beta for at least 6 months.
6 at least.
Before it came out to the public. And I had, people were putting the beta on there, said it could do it. So now if it is really broken, and I haven't experienced it obviously because I'm not on my new phone yet, but if it's really broken, then people are gonna be very tempted to go to that 15.1 to get their Apple Watch to work again with their phone. Because Apple drags their feet. So I'm hoping this is something that they pump out soon, like next week.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's I think you're right, Warren. I think people are going to jump on it and they're going to jump into it too. tvOS is at 15.1 beta. I'm not even really mention much about that because there never is anything on there. And then the Watch OS 8.1 as well. Nothing notable there as well. So, but let's go ahead and jump into the reviews here this week. A few of us, I think it's just you and I, Chuck, that have iPhone 13 Pros and 13 Pro Maxes in our case. And I wanted to hear some of your experiences so far with your iPhone 13 Pro Max, Chuck. How you're liking it so far?
I love it. I mean,
Me too.
Obviously, when you spend that much money, you better love something. But the camera's the thing we always have to talk about. The camera is stunning.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the thing though that really brought it home for me was with the new Zoom capability. I was shooting some video for work on Tuesday, and no, it was Monday. Excuse me, it was Monday, and it was the first time I'd really sat down and done something, without just playing around with it. And what I was able to accomplish with that Zoom was kind of staggering. I would probably have either had to move the phone a whole lot closer, which because it was across a boardroom table was not really, wasn't going to work well, or I would have had to crop it in post. Now, given that you have 4K to work with, that's not a big problem. But now I don't even have that. It's just, it is absolutely incredible. I've played a little bit with the macro stuff, and that too has been impressive. I was never a big macro guy to start with, so I think I don't really have anything to compare that to. And the other thing that everybody's talking about, and I'm sorry, but I don't see it as a big deal, is the Safari URL bar on the bottom. Big deal. Grow up, deal with it. It's
that is a big deal. That is a big deal, and it's an awesome big deal.
I loved it.
On a mobile phone, that URL bar should be at the bottom because that's where your keyboard is. That's where your thumbs already are. It totally makes sense. Mobile Safari on the iPhone and iOS 15, I think, is a great improvement. Safari 15 everywhere else is what were these people thinking? Do they really hate us that much? But on the iPhone, they nailed it.
But you can move it in any operation on the iOS and iPad OS.
You can move it back if you want.
Not on my iPhone. Not going to happen.
No,
yes,
I left
the
it.
setting, but not going to happen.
I'm happy with it.
To be at the bottom.
Yeah, okay. So the first 2 times I opened up Safari, my finger goes up and it's like, oh no, it's down there. And then after that, I've adapted. Big deal.
Me too.
And do you swipe on the URL field to switch tabs?
No, I haven't done that yet. Didn't think about it.
Oh, Chuck, you're about to fall in love with mobile Safari on the iPhone even more.
Okay.
Yeah, swiping tabs. Yeah, like going across. Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh, excuse me, Jeff. Yes, I have. I'm sorry. I was misunderstood. I was thinking something completely different. Yeah, I mean, again, that all makes so much sense. and yet it was such a controversy. So I agree with you. It's not a big deal. If change it back if you want, but I think it is a big deal because I think it enhances usability.
It's a big deal in a good way.
Yeah. Other than that, the phone is the phone. It's been functioning great. The battery life thing, I keep hearing about great battery life, and I'm getting better battery life. But what is interesting to me is it seems like I lose, according to the percentage thing, I lose the top 15 to 18% relatively quickly. But then after that, it just sits there and stays there and just goes and goes and goes and goes. I have yet to burn it down. So I don't know if that's just a calibration issue in the software or what. But because at first there's like, oh boy, this is not good. I have one of those bugs that is eating my battery. It seems to be just more of a calibration issue.
Yeah. I put a link here in the show notes about the iPhone 13 Pro Max is capable of using fast charging. So if you have a charger that's up to 27 watts or higher, it is going to charge faster than any of the other iPhone 13s in the line, which is pretty awesome to have it. If you have a charger that, then usually we all have our fast chargers, that it's going to charge it pretty gosh darn quick. You can get going pretty good here. I use the phone all day today, and I started super early in the morning, and I'm at 51%. So.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I'm not. Well, I had mine plugged into my CarPlay for a while, so it was probably charging. So.
And there's that too. So, but I will hit with you on the longer zoom. The 3x optical is absolutely amazing. I took some photos while I was traveling the countryside with a guy Cyril, and I did get some good zoom shots of the trains when we went to the train museum, and I wanted to do
you can't do a zoom shot of Guy because you only
no I didn't I may try to do that, but
Guy is already zoomed in naturally. You don't have to do anything with the phone,
right?
Well, I thought that's for if you're like 50 yards away from him and take a shot so it looks like he's right beside you.
Yeah, well, you got to do like the opposite of the zoom. You got to do the -5. You need like a -25 to take a picture of Guy, like when you're standing in front of him.
But it's anyway, but it is an amazing zoom. I just couldn't believe it. And even when you go in and you zoom on the picture afterwards to look, I mean, the quality is just insanity. I think this is by far probably the best lenses I've had on an iPhone since we've had iPhones, really. I think and Apple will continue to evolve with this. I think it's going to be great. I did experience did do some photos with macro. I took a picture of it with my mouse. I went really close and zoomed. It was 2 centimeters. And the cool thing about macro is, I think the fact is, as soon as you go down that close, it goes into the macro mode. You know it because you see it, because the camera just adjusts, and then you can go real close, and then you just take the picture, and it's there, and it's just incredible. And you've got lots of photos out there, people taking pictures, all kinds of things. And
how's the autofocus on that?
It's great. I mean, I know about
on the 12, I have problems with that.
No, the 12 was bad. 13.
When I tried to get close to something, it would be just fuzzy, and I had to,
13 is spot on.
I can tell you the trick, because I do lots of close-up photography with my iPhone 12 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do is hit the zoom button and then get close.
Okay.
And that's how I do all of my close-up photography with my iPhone 12 Pro.
Okay.
Hit 2x and then move in, and you don't have to be as close to get that close shot, and it fixes the focus problem.
Right. Yeah. So what I was doing is kind of the opposite. I would take it further away and then zoom it afterwards.
Like an animal.
Chuck, did you try out the cinematic mode at all?
Yes, I have played with that. And
what'd you think?
I think it works great. Again, I haven't had an occasion to use it in a project, which is when it will really tell. But as far as just playing with it and shifting it around or having somebody turn their head or whatever, it works exactly as advertised.
It did. I posted with Guy. We had to play Max Doc. So it focused right on him, and him going like this the whole time. It was fun.
Yeah, that's going to get you an Emmy. I have no doubt.
Oh, you saw it. You saw what it was. It was 18 seconds. I kept it short, but it was pretty priceless. And it focused. I was just amazed. The refresh rate Chuck, do you notice the difference? I do. I think it's much zippier and you get a lot better refresh rates in apps.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't really think about it. It just seemed like all the videos and everything I was looking at looked looked noticeably better. I don't want to say so much better because, it's not like, oh my God, it's like, taking 3 layers of tissue paper off. But yeah, it definitely, I think, makes a noticeable difference. Could I live without it? Yeah, well, I have been for the past year or two. But I'd rather have it at this stage of the game. No question about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cameras are just amazing. I'm just blown away. And overall, when I first looked at the iPhone 13 Pro Max and put it next to my 12 Pro Max, I was like, this looks the same. But then I looked at the color. The color. I went with the Sierra blue, and I had the Pacific blue before. I took pictures of it, and a lot of people make comments. It looks the same. Yeah, it's a little lighter colored blue than darker colored blue. I don't know which color. I don't know which color did you go with, Chuck?
I just went with the space gray.
Space gray. So, but the colors are I guess some people's colors are important, others it's not. So then space gray is the good general color, which is fine. But otherwise, I did try a 12 Pro Max. I don't know if you tried this, Chuck. I tried a 12 Pro Max on a 13, and the only thing I noticed was different was where the power switch or the toggle switch here is. That it was just a smidge off alignment, and so I did try it, and it was like, this is crazy. Why did Apple have to do that?
12 case on a 13.
Yeah, you could probably get away with using the 12 Pro Max case on a 13 Pro Max. The only thing that will be off is the toggle switch here. It was just a smidge off.
That's what I said, but if you guys remember back, Kelly said no.
Well, you'll find it when you get your iPhone 13 Pro Max. I'll be curious because I know you have a collection of 12 Pro Max cases that you could.
I have 3 Apple ones, which obviously I like the leather ones, so I'd rather not waste them.
Oh yeah, if you could sell them, I would definitely do it. So, other than that, I think as far as upgrades go, my advice to anybody listening is if you were on a 12 Pro or a 12 Pro Max, I don't see any real reason that you need to upgrade at this point. I think those are perfectly fine phones. That Jeff, you're keeping your 12 Pro and you're happy with it, right?
Yes. I got my 12 Pro recently enough. It's
right.
like 6 months old now, and it's just new enough for me that I've just couldn't bring myself to turn around and get a 13 Pro.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the cameras, if I were to do it, it would be just for those cameras.
Yeah, I think it's worth it to me. Anyways, cameras.
Just didn't I taunt you on? Didn't I say you're gonna get I said you're gonna get to watch your phone when you posted something a couple weeks ago.
Yes, you did, and I think you took a screenshot so that you'd have the video proof.
I'm still 0 for 1 at this point, or 0 for 2 at this point. So,
well, Warren, I can't remember if the iPad Mini was in on that.
No, it's a watch and a phone, and the watch I'm reading is dropping in the middle of next month. So let's see how that goes. So.
Yeah. And my guess is that you'll see me get the iPad Mini first. But my real problem right now with buying new Apple gear is that I'm having to buy all new glasses across the board. So my regular glasses, my computer glasses, and my sunglasses, all prescription, expensive prescriptions, and it's like guess I won't get a new iPad Mini today.
Speaking of iPad Mini, let's transition over to that discussion. Chuck, you're the only one of us that has the iPad Mini, and I'd like to hear your first thoughts of how you like it.
I've again, I love it, but I've loved the Mini for a long time. I admit I had steered away from the Mini a little bit because it was starting to feel just a little bit slow compared to my iPad Pro. But now this is. We didn't touch on the processor on the phone, and we probably should. But both of these devices are definitely snappier. I did notice,
right?
Yeah, I did not notice as much of a difference between the iPhones, but given that I was not I was 2 generations back on the iPad mini. I mean, this just is a wonderful little device.
I don't think
That-
the iPad mini has the same processor as the 13. I think it has the same processor as the iPad Air is what it
Oh,
was.
it may, but my point, Warren, is that the jump
I'm just correcting.
is, yeah, the jump is kind of staggering. I mean, what can you say? It's an iPad. It does everything an iPad should do. The camera is not as good, but it's not supposed to be as good. I personally would love to see, and I would love to see an iPad Pro Mini, but I'm sure that there's a very limited audience for that, and I'm probably
Right.
never going to get it. But on the other hand, what I've got here is still, I could easily go and shoot video projects with this with no trouble. I just wouldn't have some of the flexibility of, in editing. But so what?
But it'd probably be a lot easier to get some of the camera shots you want because of the smaller form factor.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
What makes it not a pro level machine? I mean, the processor's fast. It's got a nice screen.
Yeah, but it's
what's
not,
missing?
well, for me, Warren, it's not 4K video.
Okay.
That's the big thing
Yeah.
for me.
Is the
No.
iPad Pro 4K video?
Yeah.
Yes.
And your phones are 4K video.
The phone definitely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Can I-
go ahead. Sorry,
No,
David,
go
go ahead. Well, one thing I want,
Go ahead.
all right, I'll make this quick. One thing though, on both devices that I want to point out, because I think it's overlooked so much.
Yeah.
Apple really has the transfer and migration to a new device down. I
They
mean,
do.
seamlessly. And this is the first time I've tried it, but I did on the phone actually, and I did it on the iPad too, the machine to machine transfer over a network. So no cables are touching it except for a power cable. And except for the fact that the phone took so long because it's got so much stuff in it. But, you show the little, let's see, how's it go? You show the new phone to the old phone, or the new iPad to the old iPad,
Mhm.
or vice versa. I'm sorry. But, and it says, okay, and it does it. And this time there's no, okay, now I have to re-sign into all my apps and jump through all those hoops. They've kept whatever, I don't know, their cookies, or I don't know what security tags are in there, but they have kept all that so that it's like it makes the migration over, even to the point that you almost forget that you had a new phone.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
That migration, as opposed to restoring from backup.
Yeah.
I mean, it's truly transparent.
Yeah.
It's
still
wonderful.
iPad Restore. I'm just
The
more
one- the one-
comfortable with the iPad Restore for some reason. But
Yeah, the one key though is it gives you 2 options on the device. It could be you can restore a device to device, or you can store it from the iCloud backup, but that's the iCloud backup of settings. So
Restore device.
restored device, and it just brings everything over. It was flawless. I mean, you're right. I felt like my device, I didn't even change it. It was because in the past I think when I went from the 11 Pro Max to the 12 Pro Max, I had to do what we call the nuke and pave, which I refused to do on an iPhone. I know Allison likes to do that, but no, not me. It was a flawless process. I think Apple has done a remarkable job doing that. But I would definitely recommend to everybody out there, don't do the device to device, because it takes absolutely forever. It's much faster to do it using iCloud as it is to do it device to device. Go figure.
I do iCloud. When I did the one that Chuck and Jeff do a couple of iterations ago, there was definitely bugs with it. And the one I remembered most was the home screen layout didn't transfer.
Right.
And that
Yeah,
bothered me.
those bugs are gone.
Those are gone.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So if you do the restore from iCloud, which I know is faster, does that bring all settings?
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
does.
As long
Okay,
as you
so
have as long as you're backing it up.
okay, so
It
I
does
don't have
everything.
to do the device to device anymore like I
No.
previously did, because that was the only way I could get all of my settings to come across, and not have
No.
to relog into apps and stuff.
And then
So
wait
it's not
for
like
2 hours.
iMazing or anything like that. It doesn't, all your apps will start to reinstall in time.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't care if my apps all have to reinstall. What I want is all my settings to be there, so I don't have to relog in to every
does.
single app.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
then
that's-
it does not copy all your pictures over. If you have iCloud Photo Library, it doesn't copy anything over. It
Right.
will resync it, which is a 3-day process in my case. So
Yeah.
I mean, David, your point about taking time. Yeah, it definitely took time. I mean, I think my time to migrate everything over was 4 hours for my phone.
Oh, wow.
But
yeah,
so what? I did it overnight.
Yeah, sure.
Big deal, you know.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
iCloud,
was
iCloud Restore on a 256 gig phone. I'm using about 220. Takes about an hour, but still, if that's just the initial restore, then it takes a few hours to install the apps again and a few hours to sync up the photos. So it depends. You're waiting for something anyway. So
Yeah.
it's all good.
And
It's much better than the
realistically-
old days. Let's go with that. With the cables and iTunes. So.
Yeah, and realistically for me, when I did my iPhone 10 to iPhone 12 Pro device to device transfer, it did the actually now I can't remember. Maybe I did the iCloud transfer. It doesn't matter. However, I did it when it started, it got the initial data over that I need to function, and then I could just start using my phone. And then over the next several hours, everything else finished propagating. And it was great. So from a functional standpoint, I was up and running with my new iPhone in minutes. It's just I wasn't going to see the stuff where there was like lots of apps or lots of data that had to come along with it.
Right.
That took longer.
And the problem with that is you're kind of tethered to your Wi-Fi if you want. And, there's been times where I've actually done the transfer in the Apple Store, the initial transfer. And then, between to swapping phones or at least to get my new phone on me. And it's great while you're there, but then you're like, well, I could either stay here for 3 hours and let this finish or leave and be at the mercy of at the time for you to get.
Yeah, I've
things-
done that too.
Yeah, that's not
You know.
fun either because sometimes that doesn't always work because if it doesn't realize that it's in the middle of a restore, you'll get that bug that says, 3 or 4 days later, you'll go into iCloud backup and it will say cannot back up, waiting to restore this phone.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I've experienced that too.
Yep.
Yeah. But something I mean, honestly, I'd forgotten that you could do it on the iPad. When I fired up the new iPad, would you like to transfer over? Oh yeah, okay, great. And so I took my old iPad mini and moved it over to my new iPad mini. And now I have more storage in this, so I have a little more room to play in it. But again, it's like this is just phenomenal. It's seamless, and yeah, okay. So it takes a little while, but I mean, at some point, everything has to take a little while if you're moving around that much data. So fine. I'll trade those extra few minutes or hours for the seamlessness of it any day.
Absolutely.
With your phones, did you guys unpair your watch before, or did you just?
Oh, yeah. No, it automatically paired it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it handles the whole thing. It's
It
just like,
removes from
oh,
the
you have
old
an
and add it
Apple
to the
Watch. You
new.
want me to move it over? And you say yes,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
it just
because I think it used to be like they wanted you to unpair the watch.
Yeah.
That'll work.
So
And I don't know if you can see this my screen or not.
it's white.
It's gonna
always
white.
wash out. But that's what happens. Transfer complete on the old phone.
Yeah.
And now if I scroll down, or excuse me, if I shoot, now I just locked myself out. But if I enter my code in, now it gives me the option to completely sign out of and erase this phone automatically.
Mhm.
So no more of those gyrations of I got to do this 6-step checklist to make sure my phone is not mine anymore before I send it back to Apple. Now it's a one-tap thing,
Yeah.
bang. And now admittedly it's decisive. Once I do that, it's going to be gone. But I'm quite
whatever.
happy now.
I mean,
that
that's what you want anyhow.
You could,
Exactly.
you could always migrate back, the other way if you want to get that phone back to the way it was. So
Yeah, I mean, theoretically,
Sure.
well, I guess there's no
Of
reason
course
you
can.
couldn't.
You're
But-
going to turn it on as soon as you turn on that phone after you wipe it again, and you're sitting next
Right.
to your other phone. It's going to say,
Yeah,
"Do you want to transfer from the other phone back to this one?"
yeah, true. But so each iteration, Apple takes a little more pain out of the process of doing
Yeah.
the upgrade.
I'm excited to get my stuff. I'm getting my
Yes.
iPad mini and I'm getting my 13 as soon as they allow me to. So
Well,
Yeah.
we can't wait to hear what your review is going to be. One last thing. I did want to mention a couple cases. Chuck, which case did you end up getting for your phone?
How do you pronounce it? The Spigen.
Spigen, okay.
Yeah, my theory has always been that for the first month or two, I'm going to buy an inexpensive case that gives me some protection, and then I'm going to see what ends up in the market, because
Okay.
it's surprising how many innovations that are still coming out in cases. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm carrying right now.
I will. Go ahead.
Just real quick, and this is some advice too. I made the mistake of buying non-MagSafe cases on the 12 Pro Max, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. There's just too many times I'm going to use MagSafe when I want it, and some of those other cases like from Amazon and Spigen and all those, some of them look really good, but without the MagSafe, it's just, to me, it's not going to work.
That's a fair point, Warren.
That's a really good point. And I bought Apple's I guess it's the synthetic MagSafe case for my iPhone.
The clear one, right?
And I love it. And I was certain that within a few weeks of getting the phone that I'd just be loading up on MagSafe accessories.
Right.
I still have not bought a single MagSafe accessory. I don't even have a MagSafe charger.
Yeah. So I have one in my car, and now that's what I like to use now. So I mean, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't care as much. But it's an elegant solution that I got going in there to hold the film. So
yeah,
I've always liked Spec. Spec makes some really great cases. They gave me some review units here. The first one was the Presidio Perfect Clear. That's this one here, and you could see the MagSafe ring, which is kind of neat. And
it's hard to see. Are you sure it has that MagSafe ring?
I know, you can't miss it.
I see it. Okay, there it is.
You can't miss it. This is the clear, and it's got the grips, which is nice. It is pretty thick. That's the only other thing I don't like about it. And I've got a charging base that does Qi charging, and it's just a little thick for that. So I wasn't too excited about that. The other one is the Presario. It's the Presario 2 Pro. This one they sent me, it was in pink, so I don't think I'm gonna be using this one too much. But this also
that
has
goes nice with your complexion.
With my complexion.
Seriously, it looks good.
And this case does have MagSafe built into it, but you don't see it because it's already inside. So it does have
Does
MagSafe
it have
as
darker
well.
buttons?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it does.
It has darker buttons, and it has the black anti-glare thing.
Yeah,
that's a sharp looking case.
Yeah, it might not be. No, it's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, I might. Give me some options to rotate. The third one, which I always end up getting, if I get the Spec cases, I'm going to get another one that's more inexpensive. This one's made by Miracase. This is they say military grade. I have it on the phone right now. It's a shockproof protective case, and it's actually built pretty well. It's only like, with the discount through Amazon, it's like $13. So you actually can't beat the price of it. Because you could see on the camera here, it's got the protective edges here, and I like, this is the actual matched color. This is the Sierra blue color of the case.
Oh, it's not clear.
It's got some clear to it. It's not fully clear. No, it's got the blue edges to it.
Okay.
That looks
it's
nice
not a bad
too.
case. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this case. So I might, just like my last one, I bought one of these really inexpensive cases. I might stick with it just because it's thin and it works. So, but oh my gosh, there's so many cases out there. We could go crazy, right? It just, there's so many choices, but those are a couple of the ones that I liked, and everybody else shared theirs as well. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. So, but it looks like we're coming to the close of the show here, because it is time to wrap things up for this week. And I thank you guys for being here. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Of those of you who are watching live, we usually live stream the show on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com/DaveG65. Where you also can find and watch past streams and listen to any episodes that are on YouTube. So that's available as well. You can also subscribe in your favorite podcatcher, including Apple Podcasts and many others. But better yet, go to our website at IntouchWithIOS.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Twitter at DaveG65. Chuck, thanks for coming back to the show. Where can everybody find you?
Thank you, David, for having me. It's always a blast. You can find everything I do over at MacVoices.com. We do Mac Voices live Sunday nights with actually all three of these gentlemen. They're all part of the panel. Sunday. What did I say? Sunday, Tuesday. Tuesday. Okay.
Time is arbitrary. Whatever day you want to call
I thought the date changed for a minute there.
It's been a long week.
No
It's been a
wonder
long week.
you guys weren't there last time I was there.
Yeah. So that's at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. And you can find me on the socials as at Chuck Joyner. Thanks again, David. Good show.
Thank you. It was a great show. Jeff, where can everybody find you?
Twitter and Instagram. I'm Jay Gammett, both places at youtube.com/JGammett. On the Not Sunday show that Chuck does on Tuesday nights. That place is live. Thursday afternoons on the Big Show and Friday mornings on the Mac Show. And as always, I am so excited to get to be here and hang out with you and Warren and Chuck with you too. What a fun surprise.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Warren, thanks for being here as well. Glad you're back. Glad you're feeling a little bit better. And where everybody can find you on Mac Voices, Mac to the Future Facebook
On
group.
Sundays. Yes.
On Sundays. On Sundays, right.
Yes.
Where else can we find you?
You can find me quarantining on the Mac to the Future Facebook group. Very busy stuff going. People got their stuff, their questions and comments, and mostly just people loving it, their stuff, which is good. And so come join us there. And Chuck and Jeff, always good. I mean, there's nothing better to say. Just good to see you.
Yes, good to see you as well. Thanks for being here, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you, guys.
That was fun.
Loads of fun.
Yeah, it was a good show.
We could talk. We could probably talk for another hour if we.
It paced well. I as you probably saw in the notes.